Joining us now is Brian Foley, retired chief of detectives with Hartford Police. Thank you for being here. A lot to unpack here. Let's start with this. What was your first reaction when you saw what happened? You know,
last night, New Year's Eve, as it was getting later in the night, you know, I had a feeling something like this would happen. You know, you look at the precarious purgatory that we're in right now with the transfer of power, that our country seems vulnerable at this point, and all law enforcement across the country should have had that same suspicion, and hopefully, you know, most did. And in fact, now, obviously, even more, you know, security and police are doing much more right now to protect any sort of large events for these similar types of attacks.
Yeah, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this. The Super Bowl parade last year. You know, yep. I lived in Wisconsin when there was the Christmas parade attack where someone drove through and killed people. And after that attack, local law enforcement started putting up like DPW trucks, garbage trucks.
Sure.
Do we do anything like that here in Connecticut?
Absolutely. So, like, let's say in the city of Hartford, where I came from, when you start planning for events and you have mass events there, like Yukon parades and regular parades, different types of the Hartford marathons, a big one where there's just areas all over the city. You can't block them all with personnel. People don't stop cars, and the tragedy you spoke of, that was a learning lesson for law enforcement. And we started using, in the city of Hartford, we have dump trucks with plows on them. You have garbage trucks, and we even got some companies, All Waste here in Connecticut, All Waste would bring in with dumpsters for us, and you start predicting and blocking these areas. Look, you do a threat assessment before these events, and that is through the Joint Terrorism Task Force, FBI, state, local, federal, everyone gets together and you determine if there's any threat. You can't predict the lone wolf actor, but you can plan these events, and when you plan these events, you walk around and try to think like a bad actor. What would a bad actor try to do? And you try to prevent these soft targets. A bunch of people in an area is a soft target, and you try to make them hard targets. And by hardening targets, you have assets there, not just human assets, not just your SWAT teams, but also these large pieces of apparatus. But a lot of planning. If you're putting in a dump truck or you're putting down a dumpster, how are you going to get ambulances in there? How are you going to get ambulances out of there? You know, you got Hartford Hospital, St. Francis Hospital. They got to be able to get in and out, fire, police, everyone. So it's a lot of coordination, a lot of planning, but you're not reinventing the wheel. You save the operations plans.
Now, in this case, the suspect is dead, so there won't be a trial where we learn more. Where does the investigation go from here in New Orleans?
Everyone's investigating. Look, thank God there's federal assets being brought in down there. I can tell you that in the Northeast, it's much different up here on how we plan and do things. But there will be a deep federal investigation and start peeling back layers, looking at social media, looking at electronics, where the car came from. But I can tell you this, in the Northeast, between Boston, Hartford, C4 and Hartford, the Brick in Boston, New York City, it's such a more higher, I want to say higher educated, but we have such professional police departments that plan this stuff out. It was like when Trump got shot at in Pennsylvania. That's not what we're used to here in New England. That's not how we plan things around here. And certainly New Orleans, some of the stuff that was missed is tragic.
And I'm sure the police here will look at New Orleans and learn from it and continue to bolster that.
There'll be more to come on that. You're right.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. We continue to get updates on the situation in New Orleans. As we continue to stay with us, you can get the latest information and complete coverage of what's happening right on our WFSB app. It's free to download, and don't forget to sign up for alerts.